The weather is still horrible. I was going to go and film the intro for this video outside in the garden because it's about the garden. But it's just, oh, we've had enough. Everybody has had enough of the dull, cold, wet and windy weather. We're done with it. If this is what the rest of the spring is like, please forget it. Can we have summer and get on with it? It's feeling like it's dragging on and you just want spring to happen properly. We had one day this week that was okay-ish in between the showers. Last week we had one day, and that's when I was sowing the seeds. So I'll let you know how, before I sorted the seeds out at the beginning of the month, and then 2 weeks ago I started sowing the seeds, and they're all growing now, but I have to transplant them from their starts in the small tubs with loads of little ones. I need to start transplanting them, but I've got nowhere to put them, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I've got no room because I need to start sowing the next lot of seeds. But when you're sowing seeds, it's like a promise of better weather, a promise of a harvest. So here it is. Hope you enjoy it. Half of it's not got any vocals, and I'll just put music to most of it. Yeah. Oh, and my hair, it's growing, so it's at that awkward growth stage that just, it looks like a cockatiel bird. Yeah. Tough. That's what it is. Right, folks. Turned out I had far more seeds than I thought. All of the vegetable seeds have been sorted, and then I went to put everything away in the cupboard and discovered I had that box and that box. If you remember, hubby painted them for me last year, and I organized my flower seeds in there, and I discovered that I have loads, absolutely loads of flower seeds. And I decided, as you've seen me in the first clip, organizing all the seeds I had, writing down a whole list. This is just the vegetables and the small batch of flowers. I haven't even bothered with these. I've used something different for them, but I've written down every single category and packet seed variety that I had. I highlighted which ones get harvested from November to the next April, and there's quite a few, so I've highlighted the ones that get harvested through the winter, and actually most of them get started sowing from this month onwards. And then I separated it into 1 month. So March, I highlighted every single one of them that are winter vegetables, and I separated the month into week 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then I ticked off which ones I'm sowing in which week. But from week 2, I know which seeds I'm sowing in week 2, so I only take those packets of seeds to sow them, and so on for each month. And that's all March, April, May, June and July, and then August. Things that get sown in those months. And as you can see, every single month the list gets smaller and smaller. So the majority of the seeds are sown earlier in the year, and by the end of the year there's only a few that we sow. So as I go through each week sowing, I'll let you know the list of seeds that I've been sowing in that week. It all depends on your own preference, what you like to grow, what you like to eat. And I strongly suggest you only grow what you eat. I mean, you might grow it just because it looks pretty. And in my experience, some of the prettiest and most perfumed flowers come from vegetables. And then tackling these flower seeds, most of them, if not all, are early in the year anyway, so within the next 2 to 3 months. March, April and May, they all need sowing. There are 1 or 2 seeds that actually need sowing in the autumn so that they overwinter. And they overwinter outside. So them I will do. I mean, I have some odd ones. Guava seeds, and I have a guava seedling on the windowsill growing really nicely. Maybe I'll show you them quickly. Isn't it beautiful? New shoots coming, healthy leaves. This is my guava, my pink guava. I bought these seeds, but I have saved some seeds from fruit I bought. The instructions that came with the bought seed said to boil the seeds for a couple of minutes before sowing them. But to be honest, the ones I boiled, I split them in half. Some I did, some I didn't. Those I didn't boil actually germinated. So I just treated that with a pinch of salt. I'm not boiling any seeds. And I did put it in a heated propagator, and it took quite a while, actually, more than a month for the seeds to actually germinate properly. And this is since last year. I think in the summer, early summer, I sowed these seeds. And this lovely little guava will stay a house plant for at least 2 to 3 years until it gets too big to be in the house, and then I will make sure it's under cover and the pergola in a very protected way, and we're going to cover the pergola in more to protect the delicate and exotic plants. I have got all sorts. I mean, these, you could see the slugs have already had a go at the outside packaging because they were left outside for a bit a couple of years ago. And yes, it's a couple of years, and some of these seeds are a couple of years back to 2021. I will still have a go at sowing them, and I will sow all of these this year because I need to reduce the amount of seeds collections that I've got, because it's no good having them and then they just go too far out of date and won't germinate. But I have had seeds that have been 3 years, 4 years old that have germinated, and 1-year-old seeds that haven't, brand new, still in their packaging, that haven't germinated. So what I'll do is I'll germinate them on wet paper first before I actually put them in to their soil, and then at least I'll see which seeds are germinating and which aren't, instead of wasting the soil space in the potting shed. And of course, for all of these seeds I need a lot of plant labels. I don't want to bring in any more plastic. I've got a few plant labels left, but for the others I've just taken cuttings from my prunings that I did in January. I kept all the twigs to dry out for firewood, but then I thought, well, the thicker ones I could always use to make plant labels. I just wrote on with a permanent marker, and at the end of the season, if I'm not going to grow those particular ones again, I just slice off the name and write a new one while it lasts until they rot away. So I've been making the labels ready as well, as you can see. That is one less thing to do. So on wet, rainy days, when I've done all the chores and work, then I can just sit, even in the evening, go through the list. As I'm going through the list, tick it off and make the next label. And I should have enough labels for everything then, because usually this job I get done in January, and I've got my designs up, my plans up, everything ready. And it has delayed this year for me. It's been so busy, but I'm really grateful that I finally got that, and it's like a turning point. So I will keep an eye on the weather report. When there's a dry day, I will make sure I schedule every other activity or appointment either side of those. But for everything else, it has to work around work and the homestead now, because this is where the homesteading gets very busy. The garden starts taking priority at least one day a week now. And that's how I like to homestead and garden, is fit everything in the garden in one day in a week so that I can fit everything in that I need to do. And that's all it takes really in our garden, is one day, one full day a week. There are some times where there are projects to do that might take more days or time, but as far as the actual growing and the harvesting and the tending goes, I like to keep everything in one day a week. And that's how you can homestead in one day a week. I hope you have a good week from this point onwards. And until we meet again, I hope it's a productive, beautiful weekend. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere like me, you're heading into spring, or you are in spring. Now, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, your winter has just arrived, and my heart goes out to you. But do find the joy and the beautiful things of every season that you can. I don't know how you manage a winter in the middle of the year, because to me, winter is Christmas time. It's the party time. It's the celebration time. And it's the perfect time to cross from one year to the next. And I grew up in the Southern Hemisphere. And let me tell you, winter is not the same. It's not the same as up here. I absolutely love winter being at the between the end and beginning of one year and the next. And so my heart goes out to you. I don't know how you cope with winters, although your winters are probably very different to ours. I love where our winter is in the time of year. So to all of you, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whether you're laying up and using your harvest from your year, or beginning to plan the new year's sowings, I do hope that it all has promise for you. Until next week, folks, you take care. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and do comment. And remember that I always love to hear from you what you'd like to hear and see of this channel. So don't forget to get in contact with that.